This video is all about Beast Academy Online reports for teachers. The reports page is where you can view progress and activity for your classes and your students. And to get there, make sure you're logged into beastacademy.com and click reports right here. So everything that I'm showing right now is fake. I've got a fake district with 2 fake schools. We'll click into the one called fake school. And I've got 1 class here, which we will click into. And if you're a teacher who only has 1 class, you'll be taken directly to this page. So I've got a bunch of students here, and I'm seeing their data at a high level for BA level 3. And dark blue means 3 stars, medium blue means 2 stars, light blue means 1 star. And so, for example, I can see that Alex has done a lot of 3-star work on lessons within BA level 3 and has, done a lot of the work for BA level 3, whereas Cami seems to be getting almost only 3 stars on things, but she's done a little bit of less work. There are some convenient totals over here. So the total number of stars students have gotten, total number of trophy problems they've gotten correct, total number of problems they've answered correctly, and the amount of time they've been active on Beast Academy Online. So I can, on this page, zoom in and out to get the level of detail that I want. And there's many ways for me to get around. I can click on different words. Sometimes there's icons I can click on. I can get around with the breadcrumbs up here. I can use the search bar here, or I can use the drop down here. So let's go into BA Level 3, Chapter 3, Perimeter and Area. Okay, so there's different numbers on this page. This is showing all my students their data for BA Level 3, Chapter 3, all the lessons within that. And these numbers represent each student's best attempt. So if there's a 1, I actually don't see any on this page, that means that their work is solid and they can move on. 2 means that a student's done a really great job, and 3 means they've done a really excellent job. And one thing is we recommend not requiring 3 stars on everything, and also not requiring that students complete every lesson, just because our work is very challenging and we have a lot of it. So I see one thing that pops out is this exclamation mark. That means that an intervention occurred. So I can actually click on that to get some more information. So it's saying Cami had an intervention for lesson 8 within this chapter. So if I click on it, it actually shows me the different problems within that lesson, and I can actually see which answers she gave and also see a full solution. So this is really great if I'm trying to help Cami out with what she was struggling with. So let's X out of that. Let's say I want more detail on a particular student and just want to look at that student. I can do that. Let's click on Grog here. And now it's just going to show me Grog's data for all lessons for BA Level 3, Chapter 3, Perimeter and Area. And I can see a few things here. I can see that Grog completed the lesson 7 twice, getting a 1 star the first time and 3 stars the next time he completed it. So that's pretty great. He also got this last question wrong in lesson 2. And so let's say I want to talk to Grog about that, or maybe Grog brings it up to me. I can click on it, and again, it's going to show me that question and Grog's answers that he got wrong. So that can be very helpful. There's also an activity tab here too, so I can see how active Grog has been. So he hasn't done anything in January right now, but he did a lot throughout December. So let's say we want to click on the 24th and see what Grog did. He played this lesson and he read this chapter. So that's pretty convenient for discussions with him. Let's talk about locks. Locks affect student access to levels, chapters, and lessons within Beast Academy Online. And as a teacher, you can set a lock scheme for your classes through your accounts page. Please see the account support page and video for more information on how to set a lock scheme. We strongly recommend choosing a lock scheme because you really, once you have the one that you like, can just set it and forget it. But if you really want more control, you can change individual locks manually. So let's talk about what the different locking symbols mean. For locks, the color gray, like all of these gray keys here, means that I have not changed that lock manually. So for example, these gray keys here mean that all of these chapters are unlocking according to the lock scheme that I chose. Now the color blue, if I click here, oh, now it's blue. Blue means that I've changed the setting manually. So for example, this is showing that I manually locked all of my students out of chapter 4. I'm going to set it back to the gray key though, by just toggling it. Now, these are all keys, because within these chapters, lessons may be locked or unlocked based on the lock scheme I chose and individual student progress. So let's look at an example. So for Chapter 5, we're going to click into Chapter 5 right there. If I look at Max, I'll see that Max has unlocked everything. And all of this is, so everything's unlocked, including the test, which he hasn't finished, but everything's gray. So that's saying that all of these have been unlocked automatically through his progress, because the lock scheme that I chose was sequential, and so he has to do work in order to unlock everything. So these are all operating according to the lock scheme that I chose, and for Max, they're all unlocked. But if I go instead to Elizabeth, here, for the same chapter, you'll see that everything's gray. It's still operating according to the lock scheme I chose, but she has some later lessons that are locked because she hasn't made enough progress to unlock those yet, according to the sequential lock scheme that I chose. So that's why that key is gray, and it's saying for some students, some lessons might be locked, and for other students, some lessons might be unlocked, according to their individual progress and the lock scheme I chose. Now, let's say I want to lock Elizabeth, we're still on Elizabeth, out of lesson 10. I can do that here. Look, I click it, and of course it turns blue, and now it's manually locked. This lock here is going to stay in place unless I manually change it back, regardless of my lock scheme or any locks I change at a higher level. So for example, even if I unlock this lesson for the entire class, or if Lizzie does more work within this chapter, it will not change this lesson lock that I just set for her. Now for one last example, let's go back and say that I want to lock chapter 12 for all students. I can do that here. I've locked it for all students. Now you'll see that Gwendolyn and Max have a little bit of work done in chapter 12. That progress is still going to be saved, but all students, including those two, will now be locked out unless I change this back. So that's all about locks, and this whole video has been about reports for teachers. Thank you so much for listening.